Welcome back to Nissan Arena here in Brisbane. We're on the lands of the Turrbal and Yuggera people for Anzac commemoration round as the Firebirds chase their first win of the season against a Giant side brimming with confidence after back-to-back wins. The Firebirds 5 losses to begin this season, currently sitting bottom of the table. The Giants on the cusp of the top 4. They can move themselves into the top 4 with a win today. At home here at Nissan Arena, the Firebirds looking to continue from that second half performance last week against the Fever. And we are going to pause now for the Anzac ceremony.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
God defend New Zealand. for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth untold. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts. Our beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance. Australia fair. In joyful strands and let us sing. Advance, Australia fair.
A stirring ceremony there led by an officer and soldiers from the 6th Brigade to remember those who sacrificed so much for us. Round 6 of the Suncorp Super Netball very, very soon to get underway here at Nissan Arena. And we're going to check in on the team news very, very soon. The Queensland Firebirds with a couple of really big changes to see if they can turn around their season today after that stunning second half performance against the West Coast Fever last week. Kira Tromp, that was pretty impressive, wasn't it? What they produced, Beck Bully's team, after those changes at half-time.
To come back from a deficit to then lead and win the second half, a huge effort as we see the coach reward those players with the start again today. Emily Moore stepping into the goal attack and the change in the midcourt. Revellion stepping into wing defence, but for me the big impact player was Macy Gardner. Just the intensity that she brought to the court and her ability and confidence to go to the post. We all know how dangerous the Firebirds are when Danelle Wallam has the ball in her hands, and Macy Gardner is one of those players who's not scared to let it go.
And as you would expect for the Giants after back-to-back wins, no changes to this pretty regular starting 7 and led by their captain, Joe Hart.
A really strong shooting circle there with Joe Harton and Sophie Dwyer. Only 22 years old, Sophie Dwyer, but so much experience. In the midcourt, that trio of Maddie Hay, Jamie Lee Price and Amy Parmenter, unstoppable in the last 2 rounds. April Branley coming back from an injury and being in some good form with Matilda McDonald there. We have seen Matisse Leatherbarrow, Lauren Moore and Amy Sliger all get on the court this year, but for mine, that starting 7 finishes the game for the Giants if they win today.
Yeah, we cannot wait for this one. And the Giants, incredibly, they have never lost here at Nissan Arena against the Firebirds. They've got a 3-zip record, 1 draw, and this their 5th meeting. They've got a great head-to-head record against the Firebirds. They lead it 7-4, and you'll remember last year, Kira, remember when these two sides last met in round 13, Joe Harton with the super shot to win the match for the Giants after Danelle Wallam produced something special at the other end.
She broke the hearts of all these Queensland fans here at Nissan Arena with that shot to win the game, and went on then to make the finals, and it showed the class of the Giants and just how you cannot ever think that you've got them beaten, because their super shot prowess, the strongest super shot team in the competition, they will go and build and regain a score and be back in front before you know it.
44 successful super shots this season. The Giants, the best in the competition. Can Danelle Wallam stand up to that? Because we saw what she produced in the 4th quarter last week. 3 consecutive super shots to get the Firebirds off the canvas and back into that match last week. And Macy Gardner, a big addition in the centre. And Kim Revellion moves to wing defence. It worked so well last week. And we heard from her, the Telstra player mic, our player to watch in the pre-game show. She spoke of how the change-up was welcome for the Firebirds. And it means that Gabby Simpson is back to the bench, the regular wing defence for the Queensland Firebirds for so long. So can those changes work again here from the outset for the Queensland Firebirds? We will find out. So the Giants looking for 3 straight victories as the Firebirds look for their first win of the season. And Jamie Lee Price, second heading into this round in the Nissan Net Points competition wide. And she's immediately involved and allows Harton to get us underway. And the Giants on the board first.
A lovely drive to the top of the circle there from Jamie Lee Price as we see a beautiful drive down court and great connection into Danelle Wallen for the Queensland Firebirds. A great start.
Confidence boosting start for two sides whose centre pass to goal rate heading into round 6 was both sides sitting in the bottom 3, so they want to be more efficient in that department. And the call doesn't go the way of the Firebirds. Goal line ball for Dwyer and now Price. Here is Dwyer, just getting herself settled in early.
Lovely sweep around the top of the circle there from Sophie Dwyer.
And we speak about diamond spots up for grabs. Stacey Marinkovic naming that squad on Thursday on Centre Circle. Do not miss it on Fox Netball. Players out here looking to put their hands up, and that's what Danelle Wallen is doing literally there and making it 2 apiece.
Strong drive there off the centre pass to Maddie Hay, getting free of that close contest with Rebellion.
And the call goes the way of the Firebirds.
Absolutely, I've been wanting to see this matchup. We all know how much Jamie Lee Price loves that body on contact, but it went against her in that case.
Dunkley returning it to Rebellion. Wallen with the arm up, and Emily Moore, she's getting herself busy early on. And that's a confidence-boosting start for the starting goal attack for the Queensland Firebirds, her first start in Suncorp Super Netball. The former Giants Academy product. She was actually coached by Beck Bully in the Giants Academy. Of course, Beck Bully, the Firebirds coach, formerly of the Giants. And here is Moore again, this time feeding Wallen. And she does the rest. Danelle Wallen, good start this for the Firebirds.
A wonderful pick up there that was finished off to goal, and then also securing their own centre pass. A great start there for the Firebirds, lots of confidence.
And Jo Harton, how about that mid-range shot? And this has been picked back by the Firebirds.
And that's why she's got the start there today, Macy Gardner. She keeps herself involved during the game at all times.
Big moment, isn't it? Big moment. Hand over a turnover there, and you sort of leave that door open for the Giants to fight back, and there's an intercept. Brilliant from Bakewell Doran, just flying through and pinching it back for the Firebirds. They are on early on here. And there's a touch from Hay, but that'll go the way of the Firebirds.
Just a really steadying influence there by Kim Rebellion as the wing defence. You need someone with a calm head under pressure there to feed that ball in. Really well done by the Firebirds.
So brilliant start this for the Firebirds, and we know this season they are a side with lower levels of experience in this competition compared to some of the heavyweights. You look at SSN matches played, Firebirds 4-2-9, Giants 7-2-8, and the Firebirds are showing them up at the moment.
Will we see a timeout here called by anyone on the Giants bench? They've just got the momentum right against them at the moment.
Dunkley and Wallen gets herself closer to post. And Sharon Finnan-White, this is the perfect start for the Queenslanders, and the Giants have had to respond.
Oh my God, Ben, what a start. Both teams started really strong, but just in that last couple of minutes, Firebirds picked up 3 turnovers to put them up on the scoreboard now. So it's going to be an exciting game. If they can keep up this momentum for 4 quarters, it's going to be anything's possible for the Firebirds.
Settle down every time we've got that ball in our hand and make good use of it.
Read what they're doing to us. They're covering our second phase. It's hard work. We've got to get free. On defence, everybody's got to get tired. The hands over the ball. Come on.
standards not up to scratch for the Giants, according to Joe Hart and Julie Fitzgerald. That is a massive moment early in this match, and they've called a timeout. That's a big rev up for them. They have come out sleepy to start this one.
I think we heard there twice, deep breath. It's as though the Giants have come out a bit flat to start this game. They're looking to slow down the ball movement. The Firebirds have been able to create that momentum by getting the ball moving around the court. The heads of the Giants defenders are on a swivel at the moment.
Here's another call going the way of the Firebirds for contact, and Revalian quickly to Dunkley, and now Wallam. So you heard Joe Hart, she wants them to all get tighter to their players. There was certainly a bit of that there from Tilly McDonald. Couldn't stop Donnell Wallam, and they're out by a game-high 6-goal lead here. The pressure is coming from everywhere from the Firebirds. Price to Harton. And look at that pressure over the top from Carmo.
A stat that'll have the Rebecca Bully very happy is the general play turnovers for the Firebirds, only sitting at 1 at the moment. The Giants have turned the ball over 4 times.
Dunkley and Wallam. And she's happy to go from out there. And they're into double figures now. The Firebirds are flying here at Nissan Arena. Harton to Price. And last week it was the Giants. They flew out early on against the Magpies. There's Sophie Dwight just getting her hands ready for the Power 5, which is still about 4 or so minutes away. But yeah, last week it was the Giants who had a big advantage for most of that game against the Magpies. Today it's themselves staring at a 5-goal deficit.
Well, they did have a slow finish to that game. They've taken that into the start of this game, something that Julie Fitzgerald was determined to have them turn around, as we see a contact call go against Amy Parmenter there.
Isn't it funny, Kira? The Firebirds are bringing their finish from the last game into this one, and the Giants are bringing the way they concluded that match against the Magpies.
Absolutely. Rebecca Bully and Lauren Brown will be very impressed with the start from the Firebirds and the intensity. They had a slow start, to say the least, going down by 10 in the first quarter against the Fever, but a much better start to this quarter.
And Donnell Wallam keeps it at a 6-goal lead.
The Queensland Firebirds are doing a great job on the centre pass. They're really denying that access to the centre pass for Maddie Hay, as we see it go back there. They're just stuck here, the Giants, on this transverse line. But when you've got a release like that to Joe Hart, and why wouldn't you go straight in, Ben? It's just such an easy out there. Well done by the Giants.
And you'd probably say for the Giants, this is as poor as they've been since that round 1 defeat to the Sunshine Coast Lightning, where they lost by 16 goals. They only went down to the Fever by 1. They pushed the Vixens as well in round 3, and then those 2 wins in their last 2 matches. Wallam up and over the top. Consistency, though, the key for them throughout this match. We've seen them start matches well before and fade the Firebirds, so that's what Beck Bully will want to see from them today. And the Giants looking to respond here through Harton. She was the heartbreaker for the Firebirds fans in round 13 here last season, in one of the matches of the season. A 1-goal win for the visitors. Moore getting himself closer. Wallam, the strength over the top. Drops it back to Moore. Beautifully done.
As we see a thumbs up there as Macy Gardner runs back to the centre circle. She had a great drive there into the pocket. I thought she had that defensive pressure now against JLP was going to be the next part of her game to shut Jamie Lee out of this feed.
Problems for the Giants. They've turned it over again. It was a pass that arched too much of Maddie Hay. She could only fling it back into the Firebirds, and now Gardner finding a pocket of space. Revalian, Wallam, it's just working so smoothly for the Firebirds at the moment.
As we see there on the Harvey Norman replay, just that beautiful ball release, lots of height in the air. Donnell Wallam, unbelievable, pulling that in.
Oh, that's a pass which is just caught Macy Gardner a little unaware, but the Firebirds almost had it back. Maybe a touch on the way through from Wallam. Dunkley couldn't complete the game for the Firebirds. And again, Wallam getting an arm in. Let's go to the sideline with Sharon Finnan-White.
Ben, I'm absolutely loving watching Carmo and Bakewell-Doran down in that circle. The pressure that they're putting on Dwyer and Harton is what's forcing those turnovers. There we go, Lara Dunkley also having a crack at anything that comes near her, but just impressive to watch that non-verbal communication of those circle defenders is excellent.
They are performing perfectly to start this match. Across the court, the Queensland Firebirds, but defensively restricting the Giants to just 7, and they're up to 15, and they've been so efficient. And you can see Beck Bully and Lauren Brown, they are loving it.
I think what's been really impressive tonight from the Queensland Firebirds is the full court defence from all 7 players. We saw Janelle Wallam get a touch, along with Lara Dunkley picking up a deflection. So lots of hard work from everyone out there on the Firebirds.
Harton drops it for Dwyer. So we are almost into the Power 5. We are there now. The Suncorp super shot is in play. And we know this is always the issue, isn't it, when you're up against the Giants, because you know they're going to go for it. So does that change the way you approach this Power 5? We'll find out here from the Firebirds. Wallam stretching into the post, and she's collected the post. The umpire is going to have a chat there to Wallam. Was she given a nudge into it? I'm pretty sure that's what she was asking.
From her reaction, yeah, that you see on the Harvey Norman replay there, she just wasn't given the space, and when she did land, she used the post to hold her in court.
Harsh call goes against Danelle Wallam, but it opens the door here for Dwyer. And a Suncorp super shot, not at the first time of asking. It is going to be the Giants' ball, though.
She did a wonderful job there to follow her own shot and throw it in against the Firebirds' defence and get the ball back for her team.
So Jo Harton, at the first time of asking, she also unable to complete the super shot, but Dwyer picks up the rebound and they get a point. So that just cools things down for the Giants because they've got the next centre pass. So now they can really start to bridge this gap with the Suncorp super shot. Harton, she's missed 2 in a row. Did she miss 3 in a row? She does. Dwyer picks up the rebound, flings it back. It's going to be the Giants' ball again.
Gosh, the Firebirds are doing everything in there but taking that rebound. You can see Lauren Brown, the coach of the Firebirds, out of her seat, but doing everything right, the Firebirds, putting a lot of pressure on these shooters. And we see Sophie Dwyer in the super shot. She nails it. She
does it every time, doesn't she, Sophie Dwyer? Second time of asking. And that's the Suncorp super shot, which brings this back to a 4-goal margin.
Interestingly, we look at the trio of Maddie Hay, Jamie Lee Price and Parmenter. They've got 1 miss and net point between the 3 of them at the moment.
Wow.
-2 for Amy Parmenter, -1 for Jamie Lee Price, and 0.5 for Maddie Hay. So unbelievable amount of defensive pressure and denying work done by the Queensland Firebirds. That's why they find themselves here 15-9 up at the moment, 15-11.
That is incredible because Jamie Lee Price is averaging 101 miss and net points a game. And she's on 1, and we're almost at the end here of the first quarter. So 25 a quarter she's averaging. That's what the Firebirds are doing so well, keeping her out of this match. Keeping this lead at a good margin, still 5 goals. Parmenter to Price. And the fans were asking for a held ball call against the Giants. It didn't come, though. Harton just pulling it in there under the pressure from Bakewell-Doran. Harton, Suncorp super shot. She's got that one. 4th time of asking for Jo Harton, but it drains, and it's back to 3.
A really important shot that needs to be converted here for the Queensland Firebirds, just to get that momentum, just to make sure they keep the scoreboard pressure on.
Well, this is a big decision, isn't it? Do you Go and try and increase it to 4, or do you take the risk of it potentially being back level at quarter time if you miss?
She loves that position, Emily Moore, and she shows us why with that super shot.
Well, that is number 5 for the season for Emily Moore. And they're out by 5 again, the Firebirds.
They're very close to help ball here, the Giants mid-court, holding onto the ball for a long time.
And Harton again, that time it was a flat shot, it drops away, and the Firebirds have a chance to go and extend this advantage.
And it was Macy Gardner there on the outside of the circle. She did a wonderful job picking up that loose ball.
Big moment here, 6-goal lead, a minute remaining. This could be as much as 8 if the Firebirds want to take a Suncorp super shot. And we know Emily Moore, her quality 1 from 1 today, 100% so far this season.
Well, we see April Brandley there come through with the pick-up against Emily Moore. Just that pass, not far in front, enough in front of the player there.
Could prove costly. Could prove very costly. And it does. Sophie Dwyer punishes the Firebirds for the turnover. It could have been 7 or 8 instead. Can you believe this? The Giants, they could be back within 2 here. As Price finds some space. And Harton to bridge the gap to just 2 at quarter time. It drops away. So the Suncorp super shot's not quite working as well for the Giants in this first quarter. They've got to go quickly. They've only got seconds. Intercept for McDonald. They won't be able to get it up the other end quickly enough. And at quarter time, the Firebirds, well, they raced out of the blocks here at Nissan Arena. And it is an advantage by 4 at quarter time. And do not forget, straight after the Fever and Thunderbirds following this match, Kira Austin joins Pivot. Don't miss it here on Fox Netball.
So if you see that, there should be a baseline open. It's just going to come in a little bit further away, but it might be you on the second phase. Fake something, and then the post should open up.
And I want them to be able to do some short work in the circle, so we're not just asking for long passes over time, and they can get themselves a little closer to the post, all right?
That is quarter time, brought to you by Origin Energy, and Julie Fitzgerald having plenty to say to her side in the break, Kira.
Yeah, asking her players to shorten it up. Interestingly, we can see that Maddie Hay only having 1 goal assist for the first quarter, which is huge. We know how much work she does for the Giants. They're really missing her in attack, and credit to Kim Ravalian. She's done exactly as she spoke about in the pre-game chat. She really wants to deny her the ball, and at the moment, the Giants are finding it hard to get the ball to the circle edge and find their shooters.
Well, the Firebirds just continuing with that strong second half performance they showed last week against the Fever, and they've brought that right here back home to Nissan Arena, and that 100% shooting accuracy from 1-point shots in this match continues. Wallam 15 from 15. Parmenter to Hay.
As we see them, they're struggling to get it down. They've defensive work from the Firebirds, and a great pick up there by Macy Gardner.
It was just building, wasn't it, Kira? Just the pressure. They didn't really have any idea where they were going, and now they've handed it back. Ravalian straight into the lap of April Brandley, and that's as easy an intercept as she'll grab in her career.
That's the challenge for the Firebirds, Ben. They really need to capitalise on those turnovers when they get them. Not able to do it in that case.
And Sophie Dwyer gets the Giants underway in this second quarter.
You see there on the Harvey Norman replay, it was almost as if Amy Parmenter meant that pass to go straight to Macy Gardner.
Moore floating it to Gardner, who's going the aerial route to Wallam. How strong has she been this season, Danelle Wallam? Going to another level, averaging more Nissan net points this season than she did in her first season.
In defense, contact.
Remy Carmo's doing a great job just confusing the space there. They weren't sure and able to get it into Harton, but Sophie Dwyer always strong. And that rebound there by Jo Harton, able to finish off.
And that's probably where it shows you that missing net points can sometimes be unfair, because Remy Carmo's only on 4, and she has been one of the best players on the court, it would seem, but not getting the statistics to go with it.
Well, I think you can look at the supply-demand for Jo Harton only having put up 6 shots successfully. That's a good sign for a goalkeeper to keep a player of her calibre to those numbers.
Last week, Hart, her best performance of the season, up around 60, and as you said, a lot lower in single digits so far. That will help, though, quickly to Sophie Dwyer.
It's probably the Giants' best down-court play we just saw there. Beautiful ball movement by Maddie Hay down that sideline.
And Moore with the skyscraper, and Wallen plucked it out of the air.
That's why she got the start today. She looks in, she lets the ball go, and she's confident to do so. Great touch there from Remy Carmo. Just catching April Branley on the hop there. She had nowhere else to go. It was always going to go to Harton.
She just keeps impressing week in, week out in her first season of Super Netball. Remy Carmo has really restricted Jo Hart throughout this match. Couldn't do so there.
As we see in the Harvey Norman replay there, just forced that ball. The Giants were lucky to come up with that tip and get the ball back.
Gardner onto Dunkley. And Bakewell-Doran looking for an option. Long cross-court pass, and it's come unstuck eventually for the Firebirds. Wallen couldn't handle it over the goal line.
Just that moment there, Ben, the Firebirds needing to realise that that ball needed to be short after Lara Dunkley took that long ball, put herself under so much pressure there. As another defensive stop. Picked up.
Parmenter, good desperation to get after the ball. And here it was. She had to get there first because there were Firebirds converging on her.
Those loose ball pickups so important in terms of the momentum of the game. If you can pick up a ball loose in court, it really gives the players around you a real pep.
Almost a palmy sandwich.
Absolutely.
That actually sounds quite tasty.
Yeah, that's it.
Here's Price.
Go fans, you're holding. Justin, with the goal defense.
So Sophie Dwyer in the 2-point range. Finds Harton under the post. And they're clawing their way back here, the Giants. Let's go to the sideline with Sharon.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, just a bit of pressure being applied to Donnell down that end. We saw the ball spill over the back line. We had Tilly and Branley double defending. I'd love to see the mid-courts actually do a few more fakes to draw the defenders off Donnell and just open it up so she can have that one-on-one contest.
Here's Maddie Hay, and out off Harton. So just as they were beginning to get themselves back into this match, that's costly from the Giants, and now they've got it back. Bakewell-Doran has it taken off her fingertips by Harton, and then as quickly as that, Dwyer converts, and it's back to 2 the difference.
We spoke about that in the pre-game, Ben, those moments. That was one of them for the Firebirds. A great sustained effort there, but just the ball put too far in front of Ruby Bakewell-Doran, and it's fallen into the hands of Jo Harton. She'll be very pleased as captain of her team to be able to have picked up that ball.
And that's well done by Wallen, and tried to find more, and she did so. Maybe not in the textbook style, but it all counts the same.
This is the challenge now for the Firebirds to lead and be able to hold on to that lead and continue to push on. The Giants are a very good team and they will fight back.
That's the thing, isn't it? A 3-goal margin for the Giants is nothing when they've got 2-point shooters like Dwyer, Harton, and then Leatherbarrow on the bench. It's sitting at 2 at the moment. It was 6 in the first quarter. That is a wonderful feed. And there's a goal assist for Macy Gardner. She's getting her numbers up here. Number 7 for the match for her. Price. And you can just see this match swinging back the way of the Giants. So they got 6 of the last 10. It's not domination by any stretch, but it's just slowly creeping their way back from what was a 6-goal deficit.
What's important now for the Firebirds is to score off their centre passes and continue to build pressure against the Giants. They're the ones that need to push for the intercepts. The Firebirds need to sustain pressure, converting their centre passes and picking up those games where they can.
Price on to Hay.
We see in the replay there, the ball way up above Danelle's head where she wants it. She was very strong on the take there.
And you look, Wallam's height, 193, got that height advantage over both Brandley and McDonald. So Sophie Dwyer from range brings us back to 2, the difference. Gardner finds Rebellion, a touch on the way through from Maddie Hay was critical, but then Price, her pass is picked off by Moore.
A wonderful pick up there by Moore, and this will give a lot of confidence to the Firebirds that are able to bounce back in transition defence and pick up a ball and score from it.
So this is the problem, Harvey Norman replay. You look at the stats here, 40% the Giants, their gain to goal rate. It has been their Achilles heel so far this season.
It's certainly one area of improvement that I think Julie Fitzgerald will be looking for. Whether or not she makes changes, I don't think so. We've currently got probably their best lineup on court. They just need to be able to follow through and finish off that good work that the defenders are being able to turn over.
Yeah, it's been a problem area for the Firebirds as well. Worst in the competition. There's a tip from Price, and she's going to get it because it's come off Dunkley last.
And look at the emotion in Jamie Lee Price there as she earned that tip and throw in for her team. She's the barometer of the Giants and one player that can lift her team to you know, be able to get a lead again on court.
So biggest lead in that first quarter for the Firebirds. Got it out to 8. Just under 10 minutes into that first quarter. Harton, nerves jangle all across the Giants side and the bench, but Sophie Dwyer.
She's really ginger on that knee as we see her call time immediately.
Well, remember, of course, she was delayed her start to this season because of that knee injury. This would be a massive blow.
Just not sure if she caught the post as she went to land and jammed, maybe hyperextended that kneecap. Let's have a look here. Just landed awkwardly there on that left knee.
Let's have a listen to Julie Fitzgerald.
Guys, I really think we've got to make our lead and come straight back to the ball just that fraction sooner. We're waiting too long to come hard back to the ball, and we don't want to pass the ball over. So let's make sure we keep that front move coming all of the time. We want to keep them in the centre third for as long as we possibly can. We want to keep them in that centre third as long as we possibly can. Arms over everything so they don't get the long ball in.
Good job, guys.
Don't mind playing pinball. On a good angle.
Thanks, so go. Come on. Here we go. Giants on 3! 1, 2, 3, Giants!
HCF tactical timeout there for the Giants, and this was the reason why they had to call it. Julie Fitzgerald, Jo Harton, and she has left the court as well, Kira.
Yeah, that's a big loss for the Giants. Straight down to the rooms for Jo Harton. We'll get some information from Sharon as soon as we can, but we see the youngster in Matisse Leatherbarrow step up into the goal shooter position. This will add another dimension to the court for Remy Carmo to think about.
And Matisse Leatherbarrow straight into her work, up and over the top, the 21-year-old who hasn't played since round 1. So since that round 1 match, she hasn't had any court time. And she shot 7 super shots, 31-point shots, and Wallam has had to fling it back in, couldn't produce something miraculous, and the Giants retain possession somehow. Leatherbarrow onto Hay, and there's a tip from the Firebirds, and they are not going to get the call here. Gee, it's frantic stuff, isn't it?
Interesting, during that timeout, we heard Julie Fitzgerald say, we don't mind if we see pinball. That means up and down the court. Another change, we see Gabby Simpson come on in wing defence and Kim Rebellion go into the centre. So back to our starting line from last week, but also we've seen Macy Gardner into the wing attack. So a big mid-court change there for the Firebirds. probably some fresh legs and the ability to be able to sustain this pressure against a very top quality Giants midcourt.
Nissa net point leaders, Macy Gardner. She's leading the way, 53 so far. Sophie Dwyer not far off, and Jamie Lee Price. Well, she's picked herself up from where she was on about a point in the first quarter, and that was late on up to 35 here. So she's working herself nicely into this match, and the Giants are in front by 2. Isn't that incredible how quickly things have turned around, and now another turnover. Things all of a sudden just going awry here for the Firebirds after they led by 8 in the first quarter, and we're into the Power 5.
And it's been a thread throughout their season so far, Ben, as we see the Firebirds only having scored 8 to start this quarter with only 4 minutes to go. So this slump that they seem to have for one quarter throughout a game has let them down. The challenge for the Firebirds now is that can they keep it to a small margin as they head into halftime?
Leather Barrow finding Price. The obstruction call going against Kim Ravalian, so
those type of obstruction calls really release the pressure. Great rejection there from Remy Carmo. Unfortunately not able to get the pick up there, Ruby Bakewell-Doran.
And that, well, for a moment it wasn't going to hurt, but now it still might through Sophie Dwyer, and she has missed 2 in a row. So that is a big moment. Note that down in this second quarter. That's also significant as well. Jo Hart feeling that left knee. She's doing some run-throughs in the corridor just outside the change room. Will she come back out onto court?
Knees being such a mental game. When you've got a knee injury or an existing injury, you need to be able to be confident in your mind that your body is going to do the job. So she's out the back there in the privacy of her physio going through that.
And Wallam gets us back to 29 all. Psychologically, that is quite significant. After a sloppy few minutes, you'd say, from the Firebirds. But they just seem to drift out of the contest. They're back level, and they've got this call as well.
They've been working hard for that held ball this entire quarter. Close on so many occasions, but finally getting the call. Now they need to follow through and score off this opportunity.
Simpson, Bakewell-Doran returns it to Gabby Simpson. And she's thrown it away now. Not the impact she would have liked off the bench. And it just seems right now this match is in a position where it's on the table for both sides. Who's going to take it by the scruff of the neck? Matisse Leatherbarrow maybe with a Suncorp super shot, number 8 for her season. What an impact. 1 from 1 off the bench for Jo Hart.
Macy Gardner's doing a wealth of work here. A beautiful drive to the top of the circle.
Oh, that is a significant fall to the floor, Macy Gardner, and there's boos around Nissan Arena.
A contest there across the top of the circle. I think both players not realising each other were there, and Macy's come off second best. Contact call against Jamie Lee Price.
Wallam in position over the top of McDonald.
As we see the replay there for Harvey Norman, just a trip at the feet there across the top of the circle.
Brandley and Parmenter. Look at this pressure again from the Firebirds. Coming from everywhere. And just slowing up this attack for the Giants. But Sophie Dwyer, no pressure anywhere for the moment. And she, in those kind of circumstances, is not going to miss. Gardner now to Ravalian. How do the Firebirds respond? Emily Moore shakes up for the super shot. Got good height on it. She'll get a second chance here. This is big, 90 seconds before half-time, and Emily Moore does the damage for the Firebirds.
Great hands over there from Tilly McDonald, and Emily Moore still able to go to the post, shows great confidence.
And there is a game ball for the Firebirds. April Brandley up against one of her old sides more than a decade ago. That's a lucky one for the Firebirds. Carmo able to pick it up off the floor.
Emily Moore rewarding her coach with these, big plays in clutch moments, intercepts, super shots, and here she goes again. The crowd will be alive with this super shot falls.
It just doesn't quite for Moore, and that would have been pretty important right before half-time to get themselves in front. Macy Gardner. Full of energy.
Really important here for the Firebirds, Ben, to hold the Giants out, not give away penalties or obstructions. The way that they get down the court in the last few plays has just been by contacts and obstructions by the Firebirds. So really clean here.
And they could get themselves out by 3 at half-time if they take a super shot. Hay looking for Leather Barrow, who's getting herself into that white zone, which signifies a Suncorp super shot, and it was Carmo over the top. And now the Firebirds, they can go and try and lock us up or put themselves in front right on the stroke of half-time. They're going to run out of time, maybe. They're going to have to go quickly. They've got 5 seconds. Over the top, Wallam. And time has been called with a second on the clock. And Emily Moore couldn't do the business.
It's an obstruction call there, so she'll get a second shot.
And this.
Fantastic work from the young shooter.
And this will lock us up. But what a match we have here at Nissan Arena. 33 apiece. The Firebirds won the first quarter by 4. The Giants win the second quarter by 4. And that means at half-time, 33 apiece as the Firebirds look to end this 5-match losing run to start the season. And the Giants, they are looking for 3 straight wins. The big story, though, is that strapping on Jo Hart. Will she come out in the second half? We'll find out. Let's head down to Sharon Finnam-White.
Ben, I've got Jamie Lee Price with me. Jamie, not the start the Giants would have wanted, but you were able to claw your way back to become even on the scoreboard. What do you put that down to?
Oh, I just think that they came out all guns blazing, and we just took a really long time to get into the game, and you can't afford to do that to the Firebirds because they are desperate for a win, and at the same time we want to win as well. So yeah.
An intense battle between yourself and Macy Gardner in that first quarter particularly. How do you find that tussle?
Yeah, I thought Macy came out really strong, and I thought I just need to wake up a little bit. I think I've come into the game slowly, but again, we need to come into it a bit faster and a bit quicker if we want to win.
Well, I'm sure we'll see that from you in this second half. All the best.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks to Jamie Lee Price and Sharon Finnam-White. Do not forget, right after this one on Fox Netball, we have a top-of-the-table clash, the Fever and the Thunderbirds. But after the break, it's the halftime show.
Suncorp Super Netball, the game we've all been waiting for. The challengers, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. They've found their mojo and are heading west.
They haven't just beaten them, an 11-goal win. What a game.
Waiting for them, the Fever Juggernaut, currently on a 9-game winning streak.
The West Coast Fever march their way to the top of the ladder.
This green machine shows no signs of slowing down. Tournament goal leader Janelle Fowler against the fiercest keeper in the game, Shamira Sterling. This matchup never disappoints. While English import Eleanor Cardwell will need to command her way around the impenetrable wall that is Courtney Bruce. Can the Thunderbirds produce an upset that will go down in the record books? The battle for the top spot begins now.
Anzac commemoration round of the Suncorp Super Netball just continues to deliver here on Fox Netball. The Firebirds and Giants in a really tight tussle. 33 apiece at half-time, carrying on what we saw last night between the Swifts and the Vixens. Kira Tromp and Sharon Finnam-White. That was a spectacular first half of netball. And Sharon, the Firebirds, they fired out of the blocks, but the Giants clawed their way back into it.
They did. I think the Giants were a little bit stunned, actually. I didn't think they expected the Firebirds to come out quite so as hard as they did. But, you know, it's a credit to their defensive efforts. I think the Firebirds have really put the foot down, and they just want this game so much that everybody is out there to just win some ball.
And Kira, to start this match, the Firebirds' attack was just so efficient.
Their intensity to start that game was electric. They barely made a mistake, and they were able to find Janelle Wallam under the post with ease. We saw at the timeout there, the HCF timeout, Julie Fitzgerald speak about slowing down the ball movement with strong arms over. To be honest, I don't think that the Giants made that much difference to the ball movement. There were just some errors in the second quarter where the Firebirds want to iron out.
And that slow start from the Giants defensively, did that allow the Firebirds to get a little bit more easy access, Sharon? Or would you give all your credit to the Firebirds for the energy they showed from the off?
Oh, look, I think it's a little bit of both. And also, you know, when the ball just keeps getting fired into Janelle Wallam time and time again, it's a little bit disheartening for the defenders. You know, there is a bit of a height mismatch there as well. But I think towards the end of this half, they started to double defend on Danelle, and I think they started to win some ball in that, so that puts a little bit more pressure on Emily Moore to do a little bit more work as well.
Any concerns there for Danelle Wallam getting that hand taped up at half-time? Is that a regular thing? Or
as a shooter, I'd have to say that yes, it would have some change to the way that she holds the ball, but hopefully for the Firebirds' sake, not one that's going to affect her shooting stats, Ben.
Well, let's go to the other end of the court, the goal shooter and goal attack for the Giants. Well, Sophie Dwyer and Jo Harton, they started this match so well. Jo Harton, obviously, she's injured at the moment. We'll get to her a little bit later, but they worked their way into this match.
They did a slow start. I thought Sophie Dwyer was sort of hanging out a bit, not getting involved, but during that second quarter really stepped up and demanded the ball. Probably not as strong to shot percentage-wise that the Giants like to be, but their super shots certainly keeping them in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I felt Carmo and Bakewell Doran did an excellent job on them early in that first quarter. There was just no space in that circle. It's very rare that we see Harton and Dwyer not having space to run around, and they really did shut them down.
Now, Giants fans will be quite nervous about Jo Harton, who went off in the dying minutes of that first half with what looked to be a knee issue. She had that strapped up as we saw heading down towards the sheds. She didn't come back on, though, after this. Now, Matisse Leatherbarrow came on. She was superb. Didn't miss a trick. But how concerning is this that their leader could potentially be sidelined for the rest of this match?
I think normally, Ben, that the Giants would find this a difficult transition, but knowing how they started the season, obviously with Jo not playing during the Team Girls Cup, they're well versed in having this lineup on court. Sophie Dwyer and Matisse Leatherbarrow played a lot of netball together, both being the same age. I think they bring a strong and different combination. We can see that Jo doesn't look to be preparing herself to come back out on court, so her role now becomes one of a coaching and mentorship role from the sideline, which we all know she is very good at.
Yeah, you're right, Kira. They have a lot of depth on the bench, and we've seen Matisse come on and step up and do the job. So I don't think they're going to lose too much, but I think, if anything, it's more the leadership and that Jo brings to the court that they'll miss.
Well, let's have a look at those match stats from the first half. Could you get much tighter than that, Kira? That's quite incredible.
Across the board, it is like a mirror. I would say the one thing that stands out to us and to you at home would be that shooting accuracy, but we know that the competency of the Giants for the super shot means that their accuracy sometimes is a little lower. But across the board, very close, and this second half, I believe, is going to be just as close.
Well, we cannot wait for the second half. It is coming up very, very soon right here on Fox Netball. But make sure you let us know why netball is important to you and what does the game mean to you. Brought to you by Suncorp. We'd like you to submit your entry in 50 words or less, along with a video or image of you and your club, to foxsports.com.au/Suncorp, or you can scan that QR code for your chance to win a family membership to the SSN club of your choice for next season. Now, here is Camden's entry. When netball is her favourite sport, she gets to do what she loves with her little family. Even when she doesn't know people at the start of the season, they become her best friends in a very short time while being very supportive. And we are going to have the second half coming up right after this on Fox Netball. The Firebirds, can they get their first win of the season, or do the Giants continue their winning spree in Brisbane? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back to Nissan Arena. The third quarter here between the Firebirds and Giants, and the Firebirds are back in front after we saw this match locked at 33 apiece at halftime, and now they've got an intercept via Remy Carmo. So this is the start that Beck Bully will have wanted from the Firebirds, almost identical to the way they started this match, Kira Tromp. This is exciting stuff.
A fantastic defensive effort there, I thought, from Gabby Simpson to cover off on Maddie Hay, put her under a lot of pressure and force that ball to go into Carmo's hands.
Oh, quick movement. Stour in at goal attack, and that's a great start from her to find Wallum. And now they've got another centre pass here to push this out by 3. And that's exactly what Donnell Wallum does.
Struggling here, the Giants on the centre pass, almost a held ball.
Dwyer, across court to Hay. Returns it to Sophie Dwyer, and the Giants get themselves going in this third quarter. And we've got the Firebirds coach Beck Bully joining us. Beck, thanks so much for your time. You must be really happy with how your side started this match, but also responded in that second quarter after some adversity.
Yeah, really happy with our start. They came out and did a really good job getting a good lead. Of course, our Giants quality side, they managed to peg it back a little bit, but happy with how we've started this second half too.
Beck, what was the discussion at halftime with your team, and in particular to players Mia Stour and Gabby Simpson coming on court and having an impact?
Yeah, we just spoke about the fact that we've got some fresh leads coming on. We need to keep that intensity up. Our focus is, really maintaining that intensity across 4 quarters. We tried, the last few weeks, we sort of dropped off in that second half, so we really wanted to, try the fresh legs and see how that goes for us.
I've been really impressed tonight with the tempo from Macy Gardner in terms of her ability to be able to pick up ball in those really important moments and be available for your team. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think Macy's been great. She's got a great change of direction. She's got a lot of speed. She's an absolute workhorse. She works so hard, and for someone who has very limited experience, I think she's doing a great job.
Beck, thanks so much for your time. Good luck.
Thank you.
As the Firebirds coach Beck Bully looking for her first win as a head coach in the Suncorp Super Netball, and her team are going about it in a very efficient manner in this third quarter. This is exactly what you would have asked for. It was 33 apiece, as you can see there on the Harvey Norman replay. This is what they were producing in the first quarter, and as soon as I say that, have turned it over, and the Giants now through Parmenter. Dwyer popping it back to Parmenter.
Just having some trouble here with their second phase attack here, not being able to get any depth down court. Lovely opening there for Jamie Lee Price. She's the saviour for the Giants at the moment at the top of the circle, but a tip from the outside and the pick-up possession from the Firebirds. Extreme down court.
Yeah, Stour, Gardner and Wallum. It's that purple path of precision for the Firebirds. They're out by 5 now, as you see that call on the Harvey Norman replay going the way of the Firebirds.
Again, backwards for the Giants, just no penetration through this mid-court section of the court. Cannot find a direct route to goal.
They just look like they're stuck in the mud at the moment, the Giants. They just cannot breach this Firebirds defensive wall, just slowing them up at every opportunity. And without Jo Harton, their leader, they're going to need someone to stand up.
Well, interesting in that play, Ben, it was great work there by Matisse Leatherbarrow. She recognised that and came out of the circle as an option. And probably one of the bits of feedback that she was given after that suffering that loss against the Lightning is that she wasn't able to inject herself in that, feeding role outside the circle. So she's really taken a learning from that first round and come out of the circle there to help the Giants.
And you can just see there in the background, Donnell Wallum. She is absolutely pumped, and you could see very closely behind her on the bike, Jo Harton keeping herself warm. She's got that left knee strap, which was the knee Kira, that you said she had surgery on, so this is concerning for the Giants and her whether she does come back out. Leatherbarrow, though, has been fantastic. She's 100% 1-point and 2-point shooting, the 21-year-old, but who's the leader for them now? Who do they look to, the Giants, to get them up and about on court? Revaliant, Gardner, and Stour.
Stour just needs to have the confidence there to go to the post, finish her shot and not rush, as we see a contact to go against April Brandley there, or Tilly McDonald, who stands out of play, and Janelle Wallen finishes that off. I've been impressed by the introduction of Gabby Simpson. She's doing a good job on shutting down Maddie Hayward, not giving up the contact or obstruction penalty for the Firebirds, which is creating a lot more pressure and perceived pressure that the Giants do not have anyone to pass to.
Let's go courtside to Sharon.
Yeah, Kira, I'm equally impressed with Matisse Leatherbarrow stepping up in the absence of Jo Harton down there. She's making Carmo really work for the ball. You know, she's confident to turn and shoot. So, you know, could this be what the Giants need for this quarter?
Absolutely, I agree, Sharon. I think Matisse has really taken a lot from that first round loss to the Lightning and stepping up out on court when she's given her opportunity.
And there on the Harvey Norman replay, Matisse Leatherbarrow, the confidence to go from distance. She's going to be a real threat with the Suncorp Super Shot becomes active in a few minutes' time. And Stour, well, that's important for her confidence as well. As you said, Kira, she needs to have that confidence to go for the shot. Dwyer to Price. Dwyer making herself available, as was Leatherbarrow. And the Giants, they're just staying within a 4-goal margin here.
Lovely change of direction there from Kim Revalian. She read the space, wasn't on down, and come back towards the ball. Really strong entry there from the Firebirds. You know, they're not always going to be able to go long into the pockets and into Danelle. They need to work it to the circle edge, and that's what makes them dangerous.
Just confirmation there that Lauren Moore on for McDonald at goalkeeper. Leatherbarrow waits for the jump from Remy Carmo. So composed, such a young player. Leatherbarrow 21, Dwyer 21, that attack in for the Giants. And
very, very exciting, Ben, for Australian netball to have two, you know, tall shooters that can shoot from pretty much anywhere in the circle and seem to be emotionless, if I could use the word. They seem to carry the pressure and go to post under almost, you know, a great touch there from Ruby Bakewell-Doran, just not able to finish it off as we speak about Sophie Dwyer. She throws the ball out of court, a commentator's curse there, but, you know, she's able to stand up under pressure, and that's what her team's really going to need, because she is the experienced shooter there now in the circle with Jo Harton on the bench.
And regardless of whether she makes a mistake like this or she does something brilliant, Sophie Dwyer, the reaction on her face is the same. You could not tell the difference either way. As we see here, a HCF tactical timeout, which has been called by Julie Fitzgerald because she feels like the momentum is again slipping away from her.
short option.
Stour. And Wallum, that's big from the Giants. That's the momentum swing they wanted after the HCF tactical timeout. And Julie Fitzgerald got exactly what she was after there on the Harvey Norman replay. Good pressure from Moore on Wallum.
There's a turnover here going against Jamie Lee Price. That's certainly going to be one to fire up the Firebirds' home crowd.
That's costly, isn't it? Really costly after they got themselves the turnover.
What the challenge now for the Firebirds is to be able to get this ball down and find the open shooter. I'd love to see Mia Stour keep continuing that drive across the top of the circle, trying to put and open up Danelle under the post.
7-goal margin now. It's almost back to that game-high lead, which came in the first quarter of 8. Not quite in the Power 5 yet. And Sophie Dwyer in that kind of range. It's only worth 1, though.
The work that Ruby Bakewell-Doran is doing in terms of wearing down her opponent and sitting on her shoulder and picking up deflections is all the work that goes towards that shot at the end of the game that we want, that Sophie Dwyer is under so much pressure that it builds and builds.
That fatigue that continues to build in the body, and
as you see there, close physical contact. She doesn't want to shoot. Goes to the post on the super shot siren. That'll be disappointing there for the Giants. They would have wanted to secure a 2-goal super shot there.
So Gardner and Bakewell-Doran. Here is Revalian. Stour looking towards Wallum, but she goes back for Bakewell-Doran, and Price for a moment thought she had it back for the Giants. The Firebirds recover though. And Stour. Gardner to Wallum, good touch up, and that's worth 1 for the Firebirds.
Great touch there by Gabby Simpson, just being involved on the Harvey Norman replay. You never know at wing defence when you're going to be used on that transverse line. Great job by her.
And Sharon Finnan-White, you were at the Firebirds huddle. What did Beck Bully say to her side?
Well, Beck was asking her players to stay on defence for the full 3 seconds. She felt that they were there for the 1 and the 2, but just at the last moment, the Giants were coming out with the ball. That's exactly what you said, Kira, about Bakewell-Doran, how she's just riding Sophie Dwyer. And so she obviously was listening to her coach.
The sustained pressure from the Firebirds is so huge. It creates that ball that goes in that's just a little bit off, which gives Carmo and Ruby Bakewell-Doran the ability to pick it off. The challenge for the Firebirds is with Gabby Simpson and Kim Revalian not to give away penalties in that goal third that releases all that pressure and hard work.
So the Firebirds have cracked the half-century. Revalian finding Wallum on the Harvey Norman replay. Now the Giants.
Still Giants having trouble penetrating off that first phase on the centre pass, going back to Amy Parmenter. Finally going to Sophie Dwyer. She can find that super shot range, and she does.
Well, she just continues to deliver from the Suncorp super shot, Sophie Dwyer. And Revalian. Here's Simpson.
It keeps the Giants in touch. You know, the momentum feels like it's with the Firebirds, but as we see Danelle Wallum just cough up that ball there, not a strong take by her. And this is where the Giants can really punish you when they go to the super shot. All of a sudden, the scoreboard's against you. Great pick up by Mia Stour.
And Revalian. Now to Gardner. Dummied initially to find Stour and drops it back for Danelle Wallum for a Suncorp super shot. That is a massive moment in this third quarter, just as the Giants were finding their way back. It's a 6-goal margin once again for the Firebirds.
We talked about pre-game, it's all about moments, and that was one of them for the Firebirds. They were able to turn the ball over and finish with a super shot. Beautiful off the hands on the Harvey Norman replay there from Danelle Wallum.
And Macy Gardner still leading the way with Nissa net points. Leather Barrow wouldn't drop for her, and it's flung back. And it's the Firebirds who are there. And Macy Gardner, who was leading Nissa net points ahead of Sophie Dwyer. And Wallum, who was just high enough to get above Lauren Moore.
No hands over pressure there on Mia Stower. She let that ball go from her hip into Danelle Wallam. The Giants really need to get a strong hands over that feed going in if they want to stop that ball into Danelle.
So quickly, this advantage is up to 7. They needed that. And the call goes the Giants' way. Lauren Moore trying to find Amy Parmenter.
Just telegraphed that past Gabby Simpson. As we see here on the Harvey Norman replay, she was looking directly where she was going to pass it. Great defensive effort there from Lauren Moore out of the circle.
Hay on to Dwyer. And now April Brandley.
This is the contact. Here it is. Gabby Simpson giving up that space, which then releases the pressure and the ball goes straight in there.
So Sophie Dwyer, Suncorp super shot inside the final minute. Needed that, the Giants. Really needed it because they have the next centre pass. And all of a sudden this gap could be closing very, very rapidly. On the stroke of halftime, no doubt. They're the keenest team for super shots in the league, and they're going again, and Dwyer couldn't make it drop, but she'll get another chance. And Sophie Dwyer, under pressure, delivers with another Suncorp super shot. No emotion. The Giants are back within 3. Revaliant.
Wonderful work there from Danelle Wallam. She just watched that ball all the way into her hands there.
Mia Stower, right on 3/4 time. Doesn't drop, but the call went against her. And that is 3/4 time, and haven't we got a grandstand final quarter set up here at Nissan Arena. Just 3 goals the difference. We'll be back as we turn for home after the break. But do not forget, coming right after this one, the Fever and the Firebirds, and then Kira Austin joins Hannah and the team on Pivot straight after that top of the table tussle.
So, yeah, absolutely do that. Celebrate it. Like, yes, great job. Keep talking to each other. I actually think you're so close. Especially that backing up. Lock that base backing up, okay? You can get it, all right? Great D on the shot. You can get it.
It's a packed house at Nissan Arena. Over 3,000 here at the home of the Queensland Firebirds. And Beck Bully's team, they are just 1 good quarter away from their first win of the season, Kira Tromp.
Yeah, very positive there, Beck Bully, with her defensive unit of Ruby Bakewell, Doran and Remy Carmo. I was listening in on the huddle, and just before that, they discussed that super shot time. Interesting to hear Ruby Bakewell Doran say that she just wants to get a buffer, almost expecting that in the last 5 minutes, the onslaught of super shots are going to come. So not so much as a expectation, more than just a preparedness from the Queensland Firebirds for what might be to come in the last quarter here.
Well, it's all set up for a cracking finale here in Brisbane. Firebirds have never lost 6 straight to begin a season. They don't want that losing run to continue. The Giants chasing 3 straight. And Leatherbarrow was just able to clutch it in there with a little juggle and couldn't complete initially. And then the call goes against on the rebound. Dwyer couldn't claim it. And the Firebirds with a chance here to make this an even cleaner break. But they've turned it over again.
You can just tell they're nervous when they're bringing the ball out of defence in transition. They just look shaky with the ball. Really need their experienced players like Gabby Simpson and Kim Revaliant to be demanding the ball in those circumstances.
And Leatherbarrow belatedly gets the scoring started in this 4th term.
Really important, this centre pass to the psyche of the Firebirds and the way they start this centre 4th quarter. We know that they've had lapses of concentration throughout the start of this season. And they'll be happy to get on the board there with that goal to Danelle Wallam.
And you sense that's the benefit for the Firebirds. That 2nd quarter was probably their poorest of the match, and there's an intercept straight into the arms of Carmo. They can go quickly if they're good enough. The Firebirds, Stower was clattered into by Price, and it's not going to count here for Wallam.
What's been impressive for the Firebirds today is that their gain to goal rate, which previously sat around 50%, is sitting up at 73% today, which has been the reason why they're in this match.
Worst in the competition heading into this round of netball, the Firebirds in that statistic. And they've turned it over again here. So the door is just being swung back open for the Giants, who are without Jo Hart. She's on the bench. We don't expect her to play any further part. She's got the left knee strapped. She's playing the role of mentor and motivator from the sideline.
I'm loving this defensive work from the Firebirds. Sorry, they've been great defensive pressure, but they've given the ball straight back. So frustrating it must be for their coaches on the sideline, seeing their hard work go to waste.
How often have we seen it today, Kira? Is that just a matter of maybe just not taking their time to have a breath after getting the intercept?
It's what we call as defenders a brain explosion. You're so excited to have won the ball for your team that you're not able to execute under the pressure and use the ball to your advantage.
Dwyer. Price opened up there for Sophie Dwyer, and now Hay. And Dwyer from super shot range. Well, she's taken on a bit of a risk there, but she backed in Leatherbarrow to grab the rebound, and she did just that.
The Giants love to follow their super shots in and take the rebound or play the ball back in themselves. I'd love to see the Firebirds work harder on blocking that person who takes the shot. Great tip there, but just picked up by Maddie Hay. A little run here of momentum for the Giants. You can feel it in the stadium. It's a little quieter.
Big sound coming from the team from Western Sydney, the Giants. Wallam to the back there of Moore. Umpire just having a little conversation, but it's back out to 3 for the home team. So a team that has just forgotten what it's like to win up against a Giants team who are just losing their heads in the fourth quarter.
Similarly, the Giants are having trouble as well as defenders to find that transition. When someone's under pressure, you need an attacking player to come to them, short and sharp, and demand the ball.
Stour and Revalian. Mia Stour finds Wallam. And this is just going to be a fascinating watch this final quarter, Kira, because the Giants are without their leader and the Firebirds are without that ability to remember what it's like to win this season. And that's why it's going to take a special moment. Who is it? Which team?
Absolutely, Ben. You hit the nail on the head. Sometimes you need to learn how to win. The Giants know how to win, coming off 2 solid performances. The Firebirds fighting hard, but it will come down to those clutch moments. Who stands up?
And Sharon Finnan-White is sidelined for us. Sharon, are you expecting this one to be quite a defensive final quarter? Maybe Sharon can't hear us because it's so loud in Nissan Arena here. The home fans are pumped. Try and get back down. We've seen some pretty high-scoring quarters already. 34-32 the first 2 quarters, and then 37 in the third. Only 8 in this fourth quarter, and we're almost at the halfway point. And let's go down to Sharon now.
Sorry, Ben, I lost you for a moment then. I just wanted to comment off the back of Kira talking about how the Firebirds looked a little bit, stagnant, weren't moving, but I'm thinking that the Giants are doing that as well. So it's, for me, it's a real defensive quarter. Defenders are really picking up their game. It's really hard to find space there. So it's, for me, it's a really defensive quarter, but we know that the fourth quarter is always the hardest. Everybody's fatigued, so it's about continuing to keep the legs moving and driving the ball.
Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, and it's looking that way too. Who is going to hold their nerve here at Nissan Arena? Gardner was asking a lot there of Bakewell Doran.
You just really need to shorten up your game, and when the ball's on and it's an easy option, give it. Don't wait for that elusive, fancy pass. Just move the ball down the court and finish off as Danelle does there. You've got that shooter. Just use the ball strong and get that short option happening.
You just get the feeling there's a lot of nervous energy around Nissan Arena, more so than you would normally get. And this is just heightened by the fact the Firebirds are looking to break through for that first win.
Absolutely, you need to play with freedom, and that was the thing that got the Firebirds ahead in the first place, letting the ball go, and that's something they can't shy away from as they head into this last 8 minutes.
Revaliant and Bakewell Doran coming around, and now Stour spotted the space. Was there a touch on the way through from the Giants? There wasn't from Lauren Moore.
For me, that's 2 mistakes from Stour in the last 2 down court plays, just not getting her head, shoulders around, seeing all the options. Look, for mine, is that too many? Will we see Beck Bully return Emily Moore to the court? Questions will be asked soon enough.
Well, Emily Moore off the court, 50 miss and net points. Stour had a great third quarter, but has gone about -3, -4 in the fourth quarter. So maybe that change could be forthcoming. Price to Hay now. And Dwyer. Took her time. The pressure was coming, though, and the pressure pays for the Firebirds once again.
As we discussed earlier, Ben, just that sustained pressure from Ruby Bakewell-Doran is wearing her down, and Sophie Dwyer's shooting accuracy has just come off a little bit there.
And now Gabby Simpson couldn't get it off. Maddie Hay and the Giants have it back. Over the halfway point in this fourth quarter, Wallam's pressure coming on Moore. There's that pass cross court. It's the pass that Julie Fitzgerald wanted eradicated from the Giants game. They've successfully done it. Firebirds handing it back on that occasion. Now Leatherbarrow presenting over the top of Carmo. And we're back to 3, the difference. And we've got a HCF tactical timeout just to build on this drama. What a day we've got for you on Fox Netball. We've got a top-of-the-table clash coming up right after this, the Thunderbirds and the Fever. But what about this one from Nissan Arena in Brisbane? The Giants trying to fight back against the Firebirds. Let's hear from their coach, Julie Fitzgerald.
At the front wall, one who draws penalties, 2 and gets us down the court, all right? Really in this, I can't tell you how much, but you've got to have the belief in yourselves. You've got to know that we can do this, all right? Great intercept on that last one. That's what we need from everybody. Good in-front defence in the challenge for the ball, all right? Nice and strong down there. You're doing well, all right? But every ball we pull in, when we get into this 2-point, do not rush them. It's the same as every other goal.
Guys, it's a little bit quiet, so when we're in possession, let's tell each other what we want. Let's use body language, but let's open up the court. We spoke about court balance. Let's give ourselves a little bit more of a chance.
That will really help us all the way, I think, because we look a little bit worried. Let's get out there and open up, all right? We can do this.
We're flying at ball, then we smile, then we take it to our goal. Yeah. Really, really simple.
Little wins.
Come on.
Little wins.
Come on. Giants on 3, 1, 2, 3, go.
HCF tactical timeout there from Julie Fitzgerald and featuring Joe Hart. I just love hearing both of them speak at the tactical timeout.
Taking it right back to basics there was Joe Hutton, and that's what at the bottom line is netball is all about. Having fun out there with your mates, delivering the ball to them and scoring the goals. And that's what Coach Julie Fitzgerald identified. They're just looking a little worried, and they want to make sure that when they've got the ball, they use it well.
And that's what the Firebirds will need to remember as well. That's why Gabby Simpson wears that yellow ribbon in her hair, to remember her childhood and the joy and the love of just getting out there and playing netball. Don't worry about the fear. Don't let that take over. And that's what the Firebirds have to do as well in this fourth quarter. So who does it better? They've got 6 minutes. The Firebirds leading it by 2. Bakewell Doran linking with Gardner. Giants defence is ensuring this is a slow process for the Firebirds. Can they think their way through it? They can through Wallam. We're just going to have to get the sweat wiped off the court. Just allows us a moment here. The home fans quite tense at the moment. Remember last week they went down by 2 to the West Coast Fever. Hey, Leatherbarrow snatches it. Gets us back to 2, the difference. The Power 5 is approaching. These two sides have taken the most Suncorp super shots in the competition heading into this round, and that was a dangerous ball. And Lauren Moore with the intercept, but again, how often have we seen it? You get an intercept, and the team that gets it turns it right back over.
We heard Julie Fitzgerald say she doesn't mind ping-pong netball, but I think right now, Ben, she might be ruining those words after a great pick-up by Lauren Moore, front position on Janelle Wallam, turned over by a 3-second call against Parmenter, and finished off by a shot by the Firebirds on their own centre pass.
So Mia Stour, the opportunity there was to go from the super shot. She said, let's just go conservative and go to Wallam, and let's apply the pressure from the next centre pass, and that's what they're doing.
It's from here on court that the Firebirds need to sustain pressure without...
Wallam gets the intercept. Stour to Wallam, and the layup has the roof lifting off here at Nissan Arena.
She's up and about, Janelle Wallam. She's got those two arms pumped.
There's some emotion. Janelle Wallam lifting spirits here. The purple family, they can feel it. Wallam again reaches around and makes it a 5-goal margin. Are the Firebirds on the precipice?
I'd be absolutely nervous if I was the Giants defence, seeing Janelle Wallam with that excitement and intensity in her eyes.
Leather Barrow, well, it's 2-point shots or bust for the Giants, and Sophie Dwyer, ice in her veins.
Let's go, Firebirds, let's go!
Simpson cannot afford to turn it over here. 3 the difference, and the pressure applied by the Giants, who just love the super shot. So what do the Firebirds do? Do they continue just to go up in ones? Gardner reaches it in. Wallam, well, just left it short. That was a little nervy on the second attempt, though. Back out by 4.
We saw Mia Stour there sweep across the front of the circle that released that one-on-one for Janelle. You're right, Ben, it was a nervous shot, but she was able to get the rebound.
And Wallam, thanks to that intercept, she's leading the Nissa net points. Not often you see a goal shooter grab an intercept. And she is now in front.
We see the theatrics of setting the penalty in netball with both players shuffling around for position.
Price. Dwyer returns it to Price. And now Maddie Hay. Price has really picked up those Nissan net points. And Leather Barrow! It went around and around and down. It's 2. The difference. It was 5 moments ago. That's how quickly the Giants can peg it back.
Great take and steady there from Macy Gardner. She could have easily turned over the ball there.
And this is the pressure on Wallam, who responds at the other end for the Firebirds. That was a massive, massive pressure shot.
She never looked like missing, as we see a touch there from Remy Carmo, but it's been called a contact.
So, super shot for super shot. Can the Giants respond? Oh, you don't even have to ask the question. Of course they're going to. Leather Barrow, 3 from 4.
With 1:53 on the clock, this is the time where the Firebirds really need to continue at their game plan, not shy away from the attack work that needs to happen down court.
Remember, last season, Joe Hart was the hero as the Giants beat the Firebirds by 1.
Great feed there from Stour, a lovely fake.
Maybe Janelle Wallam could be that player on the opposing side today. Touch from Simpson.
She looks to the umpire for that call to go her way, but not this time. Defensively, they're in everything, the Firebirds, but...
Leather Barrow, super shot, doesn't drop. Huge for the Firebirds.
Here's the challenge for the Firebirds, to get the ball down court without turning it over. It's in the hands of their most experienced player.
Well, they just want to try and retain possession, don't they, here? They know they've got the next centre pass. So this is really smart from the Firebirds.
And a position they haven't found themselves in this season, Ben. So uncharted territory for the Queensland Firebirds as they go long to Janelle. A beautiful take.
And that could potentially seal it, because they have the next centre pass.
all coaches and staff and players up on the bench for the Firebirds.
So Donnell Wallam to seal the win. The Firebirds, they're going to get the 4 points for the first time this season. Well, it was Joe Harton last year. It's Donnell Wallam who's got the Firebirds over the line here. 7 of the last 10 for the Queenslanders. And Sophie Dwyer with a late super shot. Too little too late though for the Giants. And the Firebirds, they can almost taste it. And they've done it. The Firebirds rise to their first win of the season. And finally, they are on the board in the 2023 Suncorp Super Netball season.
You can see the relief there on the faces of the players for the Queensland Firebirds and the staff. This has been a hard-fought victory, one that they've been putting together and working on for the first 5 rounds of this year.
And that is the first time in Suncorp Super Netball history that the Firebirds have beaten the Giants here at Nissan Arena. 5th time of asking. And what a win this is for the home side. And I think something that got lost in all the drama of what happened pre-season with assistant coaches and everything like that is that this side is quite inexperienced compared to a lot in the competition. Beck Pulley has a big job on her hands, and she has righted this ship after 5 consecutive losses. They almost beat the defending premiers, the unbeaten West Coast Fever last week. They beat the Giants this week. Maybe they can go on a run now and push for an unlikely final spot if they can continue this momentum, because they know what it's like now to win this season. And we're going to get some reaction very, very soon with our player of the match. Let's head down to Sharon Finnan-White.
Thanks, Ben. I have the player of the match for today, Donnell Wallam. Donnell, firstly, congratulations on your MVP award. And how does it feel to finally get a win?
Yeah, it's so amazing. You know, what we went through at the start of the year, and now to put out a performance like that, I'm just so proud of the girls. It's so nice to finally get a win and see our hard work paid off.
Personally, your individual performance today, you shot 100% in the super shot, 5 from 5, 51 out of 53 for the 1 point. You've got to be happy with your personal form.
Yeah, happy with that, but I'm just happy to get the win with these girls.
Defensively, as a team, you guys really lifted the intensity today. Is this something you've been working on, your defensive, full-court defensive efforts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we've been building towards and putting that together for 4 quarters, and tonight we finally did that, so it feels so good.
Well, you certainly did that. You must be really proud of getting the win today. And just finally, you take on the Vixens next week in Melbourne. So you'll be going on a high, but obviously you want to be working on some things against them. What do you think you might need to take from today's game against the Vixens next week?
Yeah, I think Vixens are a clinical team, so we just need to take our full court defence that we did today and apply that against Vixens.
Well, you've got the 4 points on the board. Congratulations, and go and celebrate with your team.
Thanks.
Thanks to Sharon and Donnell Wallam, player of the match in the Firebirds' first win of the season, and look what it means to them. A really special result, this one, Kira, for the home side, who have fought so hard this season, and finally they get some reward.
Absolutely, Ben. I think worth noting they're all Australian players out on the court for the Queensland Firebirds, the only team in the competition with an all-Australian lineup. Really strong in terms of experience in the mid-court, but other than that, a lot of inexperienced players who will take a lot from this win tonight.
Well, let's have a look at the match summary of this one, and the Firebirds, well, they will be grinning from ear to ear looking at this. Shooting accuracy, superb, but that second half, you can see how tight it was. Where's the difference, do you feel, in this, Kira?
Something the stats doesn't show is the moments, you know, those clutch moments where the Firebirds were able to turn the ball over, arrest the momentum and score off their gains. I think their improvement across the board today, but the shooting accuracy was phenomenal. When they needed those super shots, they were able to finish off.
And this is what it means to the ladder. Get excited, Firebirds fans. Look at this on the board in Season 7 of the Suncorp Super Netball. And just a couple of wins outside that top 4. It's really, really tight again this season. And you spoke, Kira, about the Firebirds' attack and how good they were under pressure today. Is that where you sense the difference was compared to in other matches where they let that drop off in quarters?
Well, interestingly enough, Ben, the Firebirds are one of only 3 teams to have scored over 300 goals this year. So percentage-wise, their attack has always been very good. Today, they were able to execute under pressure when they needed to put their score on the scoreboard and hurt the Giants. I think the introduction of Macy Gardner was amazing, but Danelle's ability to pull the ball in and to finish off those shots. Today we saw out of the court, shooting those layups. You know, she inspires those around her. Even her pickups and defensive work was unstoppable today.
And look at that. Look what it means to the Queensland Firebirds. And Beck Bully, Lauren Brown, their coach, assistant coach, and Danelle Wallam. It was pretty special to watch, and what a way to enjoy round 6 of the Suncorp Super Netball. Now, let's talk about the Giants and Joe Hart. Now, that left knee injured just before halftime, did not return to the court. Now, how significant is this for their season if they lose their leader?
Well, as you can see there, it's quite an innocuous fall, not even a fall, just a twist of the knee. We know she had that left knee arthroscope after the 2022 Com Games and came back after the Team Girls Cup in round 1. It could be just a little niggle, but until she has probably a scan and some checks from her physio, we won't know any more detail. But it is a bit of a worry for the Giants. She is a huge part of what they do, but also on court delivering, you know, game on game. Her shooting prowess and her leadership is not replaceable.
Well, Kira Tromp, thank you so much for your company today, and Sharon Finnan-White on the sideline.